Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Why We Learn Mathematics. So today over here we have a very special guest, and that is Mrs.Suhasini, Rohan's mom.
Hi Sujay.
Hi. Our topic is we're discussing about Fibonacci numbers. So Auntie, let me ask you this. What do you think Fibonacci numbers are?
First of all, you raised a point. Why do we learn mathematics? That's very interesting. Let me show you an information here. I believe we all learn mathematics to learn these techniques. How do we calculate, and then how we apply in real life, and how do we get inspired by mathematics.
Okay.
And then you asked about Fibonacci sequence. Actually, I started learning about this sequence after Rohan said he had an assessment in this. And then I researched a little bit. That was very interesting pattern.
Yeah, it is.
And when I saw that pattern, I thought, okay, what is so special in this, and why are we learning it? It is just a sequence of numbers.
Yeah.
How they used in the artwork, the famous art Mona Lisa was also inspired by this Fibonacci sequence pattern. The sequence goes like this. If the numbers start with 0 and 1, the next number is the sum of the previous two numbers. It's something like this. 0, 1, 1, and then 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and so on.
Why do you think we use Fibonacci numbers?
Then in my research, I learned Fibonacci sequence is used in creating the artworks, and at one place I looked at this one tile which was painted in these small rectangular blocks.
Yes.
But when I looked deeply into that artwork, I realized the first tile was like a small tiny one, and then the next one is a little bigger, the other one is a little bit more bigger. And when I looked in the whole tile, it looked very beautiful.
Yes.
Later on I realized that was inspired by the Fibonacci sequence.
Yes, yes.
Because the rectangles are designed in such a way with the Fibonacci sequence numbers, the area of each square was the square of the Fibonacci number, and then they colored it, they painted it. So
Yes.
it was very interesting.
Let me ask you another question. What exactly is the importance of Fibonacci numbers? Like, why do we have to learn about them? What's so important about them that we have to learn about?
Mr. Pisano in 1200 AD, he discovered Fibonacci sequence. So did we stop right there? No. Then artists looked at that Fibonacci sequence in a different way. And then they started realizing how we can use in this artwork.
Yes.
And then architects, when they built the houses or whatever architecture they were trying to build, then they also used the Fibonacci sequence. Like when you cut the rectangle in different shapes before you start the building work or the construction work, they were able to project how the building or the construction should look like.
Yeah.
So when they can do such things, then you also can come up with more research on it, and you guys can make wonders in future because you guys are the next generation.
Okay. So, where do you think we come upon Fibonacci numbers in our day-to-day life? Like, where do you think we usually find them? Like in nature or in the city, or where do we mostly find
That's
them?
very interesting. Actually, when I looked at some trees and plants, I realized the leaves onto the branches were actually kind of in a sequence of numbers. Then later on I realized that was nothing but Fibonacci sequence numbers. Most of the flowers do grow in spirals, and the number of petals grow in Fibonacci numbers.
Yeah.
Pisano, he realized the sequence was already there, and he could put them up in the numbers, and he can give an interesting sequence to the real world.
Yeah.
So the sequence is already there in the nature. The pine cone also, when you look at those stems and all,
Yeah.
those are arranged in the Fibonacci sequence.
Okay.
And there are so many examples like that, mostly in trees, plants, and in the flower petals.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And while I was doing this research work, I came to know more interesting facts about it. I wanted to share with you all about that.
Yes.
When you look at the Fibonacci sequence, did you ever wonder how the relationship is going to be between the squares? Then I came up with this. In the top row, this is the Fibonacci sequence, and in the bottom row, I put all the square numbers. When you sum up the first two numbers, 1 plus 1, it gives 2.
Yes.
And when you do 1 plus 4, it gives 5. And so on. 4 plus 9, 13. 9 plus 25, 34. When you sum up the first few numbers squares, you find an interesting numbers. 1 plus 4 is 6. And then if you add 9 more, it becomes 15. And if you add 25 more, it becomes 40.
Wow.
And so on.
Yes.
The later scientists found out about this interesting rectangle, golden rectangle.
Yeah.
So when you are about to frame something, or an architect when he uses to build something, then if he was able to draw the rectangle in the golden rectangle ratio, then it is very easy for him to find the area of it also.
Yeah.
So when he knows the area of the land, then he can cut into the Fibonacci squares, and so on.
Yeah.
There is an interesting fact called golden ratio,
Okay.
which was like when you take two consecutive Fibonacci numbers, when you divide the bigger number with the smaller Fibonacci, it gives a ratio of 1.6 something. And he kept on calculating more and more. The number is coming up to 1.618, which is nothing but golden ratio.
Yeah.
So all these interesting topics, when you do more research on it, you will come to know. Now you know how they are calculated, and you apply them, and you get inspired by looking at the real life things also.
Yes.
That is how I thought Fibonacci was very important and very interesting topic.
Yeah. Okay.
Mathematics is not just solving for X. It is also figuring out Y.
Yes.
I hope you all believe in that.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Auntie, for taking your time to sit in this interview. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.